Well, good morning to everyone, and I would like to call this meeting of Huron County Council to order and welcome all members of County Council that are joining us both in person and virtually this morning. Welcome to all of our SMT that will provide us facts and information so we can make the best decisions on behalf of the Corporation of the County of Huron and our 61,000 residents. Welcome also to members of the public and CAO Works mom and daughter in attendance this morning, Beth and Hannah. A special welcome to you this morning. Welcome also to members of the media that are joining us and all members of the public that are joining us online also. I would like to indicate that meetings of Huron County Council are available live through Zoom, and recordings may be posted online on County of Huron's YouTube channel. You may be seen and or heard as part of the broadcast, and your name, comments, and or presentation materials will become part of the public record. At the outset, I would like to make a comment about a recent event that CAO Work and myself attended on behalf of Huron County Council. It was an absolute privilege to be in attendance at the Ontario Association of Paramedics Chiefs Annual Fall Symposium and Awards Gala that took place at Blue Mountain Conference Centre from the 30th of September to the 3rd of October. It was joint hosted, and this is very important, by Grey, Bruce, Dufferin, and Huron counties, and that's the collaboration that we're all attempting to achieve, and we're doing it. During the symposium, the host counties were able to raise over $10,000 towards the Paramedic Memorial Fund by hosting a Chiefs Challenge golf tournament. The conference sessions focused on advancing the future leaders of the paramedic industry by developing leaders and succession planning with a focus on equity, diversity, and inclusion. Keynote speakers included the Honourable Jane Philpott, who is the Dean of Health Sciences at Queen's University, as well as a key developer of the Community Paramedic Program. In addition, Karen Smith, who is Vice President and Chief Human Resources Officer, and John Peevers, Director of Community Media Relations and Economic Development from Bruce Power, presented on succession planning and the importance of building a strong leadership team. As I indicated, CAO Work and myself attended the gala, and at this event, over 650 people were there for the annual dinner and awards ceremony. And this event is where the Paramedic Medal of Bravery, Leadership Awards, and the Governor General EMS Exemplary Service Medals are presented. These medals were presented to Brigadier General Forestier, who is the Director General of the Canadian Forces Health Services. We were able to get a picture with him, and that was on behalf of Governor General Mary Simon. I would really like to commend our Huron County paramedics, Jane Seafried and Zia Kogami, both receiving the EMS Exemplary Service Medals during this event, and it was a privilege to be there to celebrate with them and to honor them. The 2024 conference was the highest attended conference since its inception, which also included 222 medal recipients. As Warden of Huron County, and on behalf of Huron County Council, I would like to thank the chiefs and their staff from Grey, Bruce, and Dufferin counties for making this event such a success, and especially to our own Huron County staff, Chief Jeff Horseman, Deputy Chief Rob Taylor, Deputy Chief David Campbell, and Lori Vermeerch, and Sally Wams, and Heather Malley, for all of their hard work and dedication to ensuring that this event was both successful and a positive reflection on what Huron County is so proud of. And I did want to share that with all members of County Council. Thank you very much, Jeff and Rob. With that, we do have, maybe we would like to get a photo, Jeff. Would that be okay with you? Perfect. Okay. That'd be great. Thank you.
So through you, Mr. Warden, the Emergency Services in the County of Huron has been granted an award in commemoration of all of the hard work of staff in their contributions towards this event.
Please. Congratulations. A short review. And again, congratulations, Jeff and Robin. Thank you very much for that. It was a tremendous event. With that, we have the agenda that has been circulated. It is system generated, and that's why 9.1 showed up. And of course, it's not on our agenda today. So I would entertain a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda as amended. And that is Councillor Harding and Anderson. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. I thank you. Do any members of council have a declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof of any agenda item that we have today? Seeing none, we have the previous minutes from the 2nd day of October, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder to adopt these minutes as circulated. Past Warden Ginn and Councillor Finch, are there any questions on these minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. We do not have any delegations or petitions or presentations today. Number 6 is councillor comments. And I would welcome any members of council to make any comments that they would care to at this time. I'm going to go first to Councillor Harding and then to Past Warden McClellan, please.
I'm not sure that whether this is the right place to bring this up or to, I'm just looking for some sympathy and maybe some support. We received a notice about, it's almost 2 weeks ago now. We got our OPP bill, and it was quite a shock to our clerk. There was a 21% increase in the bill, and there was quite a sizable figure to pay from the shortfall last year. So I'm just wondering if anybody else has had this problem, and we are circulating this through all the municipalities to sign and support us if they're interested.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I'll go next to Past Warden McClellan, please.
If I can respond to Councillor Harding, we're also familiar with the new costing from the OPP, and if I understand correctly from our clerk, it's right across the county. In fact, it might be right across the province. The way it was explained was because the province had a freeze on, and it was found that that freeze was considered to be unconstitutional, that they actually have to go back and do back pay, and that's why there's such a big increase to pick up what we haven't had to pay for the last few years in increases that would have been there. Certainly willing to sign something if you have something to circulate, but at the moment, I don't know a way around it.
Okay,
it was discussed yesterday at Howard Council, and she is going to submit the message about this through to where all municipalities can support it or not, that we see that come to us usually monthly here.
Thank you for that, Councillor Harding. And I think that's an appropriate approach through correspondence to the county on that. Would that be okay? Perfect. Thank you. Councillor Klopp, please.
Yeah, good morning. Do we need a motion or something like that then that we put some pressure on? I think it's a good argument. This to me is right up there with 3 houses on one farm property. In this case, it's our people back home here. The province took a notion a few years ago to fight something. Councillor McClellan pointed it out, but 21%. The province should be, I think we should put some pressure on, and I think right across the country, or right across the whole province rather. So if there's something more formal, let's do it. I'm for it.
Thank you, Councillor Klopp. CEO Work, do you have a comment to make on this subject, please?
Yeah, normal process would be for us to receive correspondence from the municipality, and at that point, we would have a motion from council in terms of direction. Thank you, Councillor Klopp.
Yeah, I think that's the appropriate process. You're good to that, Councillor Harding? Okay, perfect. Any additional comments of county councillors? Nothing? Past Warden McClellan, you're good? Yeah, no, we're good with that. Do you have a follow or another topic, please, Councillor McClellan, past warden?
Thank you, Mr. Warden. My request to Huron County Council would be for councillors to endorse a letter to all municipalities for support in sending a letter to the province about the shortfall of provincial funding for public health. The previous arrangement was an 80-20 split between funding of 80% from the province and 20% coming from property tax. The province has changed this to a 75-25 split. And then after the 75-25 split was put in place, the province then announced only a 1% increase per year going forward on all funding received from the province. Currently, 82% of health units across the province are using property tax dollars to make up the difference between the cost of the programs provided and the funding received from the province. Healthcare and public health are a provincial responsibility, and we need the province to provide direction on the programs that public health units are to provide and the province to fully fund their portion. Municipalities across the province are challenged with meeting the increased costs of the services we already provide. Adding healthcare responsibilities for programs that are mandated and not properly funded puts another strain on municipalities that only have property tax dollars as a collectible source of income. So I'm asking for County Council's support in sending a letter out to all municipalities to see if we can get support to go to the province and ask for this to be corrected.
Okay, thank you for that, those comments. Would you be so inclined to make a motion for two things? One, be a staff report, and secondary, the draft letter that you alluded to?
Yes, I would.
Do we have a seconder for that? It'd be seconded by Councillor Finch. Discussion? All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. I thank you. Additional comments, past warden, you're good? Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, I have another item. Okay.
Please.
Yeah, thank you. Just so council's aware, on Thursday, October 10th, I attended the official launch of the Grand Bend Community Food Pantry at the Huron Shores United Church in Grand Bend, Lambton Shores. Check presentations were made by the Rotary Club of Grand Bend, Sunset Community Foundation, and the Grand Bend Legion. Mayor Doug Cook of Lambton Shores, myself, and Minister Thompson were on hand to bring congratulations to this new endeavor. In addition, Larry Leakey from the Petrolia Food Pantry was on hand to provide details on their success of their program in Petrolia. My point is that we live in a very generous community. Something to be very mindful about the greater Grand Bend community is that they do not recognize municipal borders. They are a well-connected tri-county community and embrace the needs of a wide geographical area. So the opening of the food pantry is just another step in demonstrating their commitment to supporting the food insecurities in a sometimes unbalanced world. So kudos to all of them.
Thank you very much for sharing that. We are fortunate in this area. We've just had the privilege of Thanksgiving, and we have so much to be thankful for, and especially with the volume of food that we have. Not all in the world have that privilege. Thank you. Any additional comments of any members of County Council? If not, thank you very much to everyone for that. On our consent agenda, it encompasses 7.1 through 7.7. Is there anything that anyone would like to pull from that? And if not, I would entertain a motion to approve items 7.1 through 7.7 with actions as noted. Alvin McClellan and Councillor Noel, all in favor of this motion? And that is carried. I thank you. Under Social and Property Services, Jane Voskamp is here to respond to any questions on the Salvation Army Suncoast Citadel Service Agreement. And if any members of County Council have any questions of Jamie on this, she is more than happy to respond. And if I don't see any, I will entertain a mover and a seconder to receive the report by Jamie Voskamp, entitled The Salvation Army Suncoast Citadel Service Agreement is presented for information, and approve the appropriate bylaws and the signing of them for the provision of providing homelessness prevention program funding. Councillor Van Stone and Heifer, P. Heifer, all in favor of this motion? Again, that is carried. Thank you very much, Jamie. And is also here to respond to any questions on the Canadian Mental Health Association Perth Huron Addiction and Mental Health Services Agreement. Do we have any questions of Jamie on this? And if past Warden McClellan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. There's a couple, or I think there's at least 3 reports here in a row where they talk about they are funded. But I'm questioning the envelope that they're funded from, and I hope I'm asking this question correctly to get the information out. But I think we were told that when the homeless establishment that we're building here in Goderich is completed, that I think there was around $700,000 or $750,000 a year was coming from the province. That was an envelope of money that we've got to use towards running that facility. So is any of these monies actually come out of that same envelope? Because they kind of sound like they've got a little bit of the same background. And if that's the case, does that just mean that we've got less money going to running the new facility?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Jamie, would you care to respond to that, please?
Yes, through you, Mr. Warden. So the allocation for the CMHA programming and the agreement with Suncoast Citadel Salvation Army is funded through our homelessness prevention program, which is referred to as HPP on our side of things. The operational funding that we receive from the province allows us to run those programs that are currently in place. At this time, it's our hope that we can continue to offer these programs year over year. It is based definitely on what the province's allocation is to us on an annual basis.
Okay, thank you for that. That clear as can be, Past Warden McClellan?
No, it's not. Sorry, Mr. Warden. And maybe I'm not asking the question correctly, but I'm not having any problem with the individual programs. They sound fine. But if we've got a lump sum that comes from the province, and we've had it stated in this room that, we've got that 700 or 750 to go towards running the new facility, does this money come out of that envelope first? That's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of.
Okay, thank you for that. Barbara, would you care to respond to that, please?
Yes, thank you. And through you, Warden. The Addiction Supportive Housing Program, which is what this particular agreement, both of these agreements are referring to. Let's stay with the addiction supportive housing, because I think that's your specific question. That is coming out of the homelessness prevention dollars, the HPP dollars. And we've been running this program for a number of years. So it's a program with CMHA here on Perth, where there's up to 8 individuals that CMHA supports in their units. So we pay for a caseworker, and then we pay the rental subsidies as well to support those 8 individuals as they move through the housing continuum. So we've been doing that program for a number of years. And yes, it does come out of the HPP dollars first, as part of the dollars, and the remaining HPP dollars that we have, because we do run a number of programs and not just the bridge housing program, it's all coming out of that same particular pot to run that program. And the bridge housing program is partly funded by levy based as well. So there's a lot of programs that we run, and we try to keep people housed and moved on in that housing continuum.
Thank you for that. You're good with that?
Yeah, I think I got the answer I was looking for there. And again, I don't have a problem with the programs that we're running here, Mr. Warden. But at some point when we get our new facility all up and running, I'd like to know how many dollars are still left in that fund from the province that we haven't taken out when we get to that stage. I don't need that answer today. When we get to that stage that are already contributing to the overall cost to run the facility.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to defer to CAO Work if you have any additional comments at this
Yeah,
point.
I would just say through you, Mr. Warden, there is no question that we are going to require additional operating funds from the province, and that work is underway right now, and conversations are already underway right now to ensure that that increase in funding is flown through us, through to the appropriate agencies. So just to give a certain amount of confidence to Councillor McClellan that we know that we're going to need more, and that advocacy is underway.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you. Any additional questions or comments of Jamie on this report? And if I do see any, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive the report from Jamie Koskamp on the Health Association here in Perth Addiction and Mental Health Services that have been received for information with the appropriate bylaw and signing of funding. Moved by Councillor Finch, seconded by Councillor Vanstone. All in favor of this? And that is carried. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jamie. Number 3 is the Huron County 5-year plan for child care in early years. Cheryl Patience is joining us virtually this morning to present to us on this topic. Welcome, Cheryl.
Thank you, Warden McNeil. I appreciate the opportunity to present to County Council the highlights of the 5-year plan for Huron County Children's Services. It is a requirement of the Ministry of Education, and it will be used to help us guide our work for the next 5 years. So I'm just going to share a few of the slides from the plan with you. Sorry, bear with me. Okay, so the plan was shaped by extensive engagement with our stakeholders, including parents, caregivers, childcare providers, community partners, and it ensures it addresses the real needs of Huron County families. Key areas of concern from the community included the need for more childcare spaces, greater affordability, flexible childcare options, and improved staff retention and professional development. By incorporating this feedback, the plan remains community-driven and responsive. You will notice an emphasis on inclusivity, ensuring that all children, including those with special needs, have access to high-quality care. Expanding partnerships with social service agencies and health agencies to support children and families is central to this effort. The plan is not static. It emphasizes continuous improvement, particularly through data-driven decision-making and regular needs assessments that will help keep the county informed of shifting trends, allowing for proactive adjustments in service delivery. The plan also aligns with the broader Ontario and federal initiatives, such as the Canada-wide Early Learning and Childcare System, which supports the goal of $10 a day childcare. By keeping this alignment, Huron County ensures it receives necessary funding and stays in sync with provincial and federal expectations. We hope the following 6 priorities highlight the thoughtful and inclusive nature of the plan and its commitment to addressing community needs and its alignment with the larger policy framework. So number 1 is expanding childcare services. So we recognize the growing demand for childcare spaces, particularly for infants and toddlers. This plan aligns with the expanding CWEL goals. It also has key initiatives, including licensed home childcare. So we're looking to increase our home childcare providers, bringing on those that are perhaps not on CWEL, onto CWEL and through our licensing. We want to expand early on services in South Huron and enhance flexibility with care options during atypical hours to accommodate working families. We'll also launch public awareness campaigns to ensure that families are informed about the available care options and any new options that may become available. We want to improve workforce and stability. So workforce recruitment and retention are critical issues. Our plan addresses this by promoting careers in childcare, supporting professional development, and creating mentorship programs. We'll monitor recruitment and retention trends, and we will work with local schools and colleges to highlight career paths. Wage enhancement programs for early years educators will ensure that they're aware of what's available from the province for those opportunities as well. We'll do mentorship and coaching programs. They'll be established to provide continuous skill development for those within Huron County. For enhancing affordability, which was priority number 3, we'd like to enhance childcare affordability, particularly for families of school-age children that are not part of the CWEL program. We'll aim to increase those home childcare providers and their participation in CWEL, as mentioned earlier. We'll promote financial supports for school-age children, such as subsidies for summer camps and financial relief that we've been able to provide in the fall in previous years. Collaboration with local employers will be explored to identify solutions that support working parents. Boosting service quality and inclusiveness. So service quality is a cornerstone of our vision. We don't want to just create more spaces. We want quality to remain a priority. We'll emphasize inclusive practices that support children with diverse needs. We continue to implement the Ontario's focus of how does learning happen. This framework will be expanded as a resource for inclusive childcare environments. We'll increase training for educators and parents to ensure our community is equipped to recognize and support a range of developmental needs. Number 5 is strengthening community partnerships. So collaboration we know is key. We'll continue to collaborate with other childcare services within the county. We're also committed to enhancing our partnerships with community organizations, other childcare provider agencies, and sector peers to share resources and best practices. We will continue to participate in community consortiums like the Kids First initiative. This helps us leverage our existing relationships and expand services to ensure that our system adapts to local needs and remains sustainable. Number 6, our last goal is promoting data-driven decision-making. So we want to enhance our data collection and analysis capabilities to improve our planning and decision-making in childcare services. Regular needs assessments will help us ensure that our childcare service aligns with community demands, and we aim to integrate childcare needs into broader community planning. The commitment to enhancing data collection tools and analysis capabilities ensures that future decisions are based on accurate, timely information, which is crucial for long-term planning and success. Also, the addition of a data analysis expert, such as a data analysis coordinator, would support our ongoing efforts to maintain transparency and adapt to emerging trends. These 6 priorities ensure that Huron County is well positioned to meet the evolving needs of children, families, and educators. By focusing on accessibility, affordability, workforce support, and community collaboration, we're building a robust and inclusive early years system for the future. And I thank you for allowing me to present some of the highlights of the 5-year plan that is attached with the report.
Thank you very much, Cheryl, for that presentation to us this morning. And do any members of council have any questions or comments of Cheryl? I'll go first to Past Warden McClellan, then Past Warden Ginn, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Cheryl, and I apologize if I've got it wrong here. Sometimes you read so many reports in a couple of days, you get them mixed up. But I thought there was a part in here where it talked about, I think it was the month of October, where we try and do some subsidies to families that are in need to help them out. Did I read that in this section? Is that correct?
Yeah, through you, Warden. Yeah, we've been fortunate enough to have funding the past few years to be able to offer school-age families a bursary for the month of October so that they're not required to pay the childcare fees. So in Huron County, if you have a school-age child, the fees are covered by our provincial funding. And that's because they are not part of that reduced childcare, the 0 to 6 age group through the CWELF or Canada-wide. So in order to kind of even the playing field for those families that get no benefit through the provincial federal deal, we're offering October as a month that we've been able to cover those fees.
Okay, no, and I think that's a great program, and I also appreciate the fact that you're trying to do something with the cost of the summer camps, because the summer camps are good both for the providers of the daycare services and for the families that didn't have any service when schools are shut down. So it works for both sides, and it creates extra jobs in the community over the course of the summer. So I think those are both good programs. Thank you.
Thank you for those. Thank you for those comments, Past Warden McClellan. Past Warden Ginn, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Warden. My question is on the affordability. You know, a few years ago, there was a big hullabaloo about a federal election and we were going to get $10 daycare. My kid's home this weekend. I find out they're paying somewhere in the neighborhood of $65 a day for childcare. So my question is kind of twofold. First, is there anyone that's getting $10 a day childcare? And if you could just give me a guideline about what are the cheapest rates that we have at this time? Is anyone even in the $20, $30, $40 range, or is everybody still paying the $65?
Thank you for that. Cheryl, would you have any comment to make on that, please?
Sure. Thank you, and through you, Warden McNeil. So the government did definitely slow the implementation of that program. There was to be a further reduction this past September, which was paused. So the next reduction that will occur is actually January 1st, 2025. And the ask at that time is that all fees are flattened across the entire province to $22 as a maximum, which is still a far cry from the $10 that was initially indicated. But they were reducing the fees by a percentage each time, and those that were in the more urban centers were paying much higher. So they're trying to get everyone on the same level to get to the $10. So it has definitely been slowed. There is still the promise to get to that average of $10 a day, but we're only at the $22 mark effective January 1st. Within the county, we are in fairly good shape. There were only a couple centers that needed to decrease down to the $22. So within Huron County, most are paying around $20 a day.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, that satisfies the questioner, and thank you very much for that. Councillor Anderson, please.
Thank you, Warden. It's nice to read in this report that you're going to try to see if you can get more providers, because there's a lot of small rural schools that did have before and after daycare program, which no longer have it. And so it is quite difficult for those families to be able to find daycare. And I've talked to a number of people lately too that have recently had babies, and they're to go back to work, and they've had their name on a list ever since they knew that they were expecting, and they don't have any daycare. So it's difficult for these people to go back to work with no daycare. So it'd be nice to see and work to try to get some more both before and for younger children.
Thank you for those comments. Any additional comments? If not, Cheryl, thank you very much for your fulsome report that is of great interest to all members of Huron County Council. And with that, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive the report by Cheryl Patience, titled Huron County's 5-Year Plan for Childcare and Early Years, and further that we approve the 5-year plan. Councillor Finch, seconded by Councillor Becker. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. I thank you for that, and thanks again, Jimmy. When we move on to homes for the aged, nothing today, emergency services, the paramedic-based generators. Jeff Horseman is here to answer any questions that council may have on this report, and I'm going to go to Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, thank you. And through the warden, great report, Jeff. I really like to see what I have here, what we have here. One of the comments that you made in the report about adding generators to the county basis currently without generators would be helpful with the continuity of operations for longer power outages. I suggest as a council, we need to explore putting in a generator a year into our budget, starting with the 4 owned bases. We cannot be taking chances with climate change and how that's going to affect us down the road. Emergency services need to be ready for emergencies, considering all factors, since we cannot know the future, so we should be prepared for it. And obviously, there is a need with 3 of them right now with generators. So I think we need to do something moving forward to be progressive in that. So I look to staff perhaps how we can move forward with that. Maybe do we put it in the budget or for discussion, or what would you suggest? I'd be prepared to make a motion.
Okay, thank you very much for that. CAO Work, a comment, please.
Certainly, if it's of interest of council, I would look for a motion from council to bring back a staff report with some pricing included in that, and then that could be included in the budget if that is the will of council.
Okay, just hold that thought. I'll come to you. Councillor Becker, do you have a question or a comment to make on this subject?
Mr. Warden, that's a great suggestion by Councillor Finch to support our bases like that because of the weather conditions and everything else. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Past Warden McClellan, please.
I certainly I'm happy to see a report. I'm just wondering if we could include one thing in it when we get it, is that how many generators do we have across the county for all of our facilities, whether it be our public works or our emergency service or whatever, once we have all the ones that we believe we need? And then what would just be the yearly amount to put into a budget as a reserve to always maintain and or replace when they're needed, so we don't get hit with a big number whenever we have to make those changes? Thank you.
So you're thinking to be a little proactive, eh? Okay. Councillor Klopp, a question or comment, please.
Thank you. And our I'm just thinking of our buildings. We have ambulance service now. Some are in county share, like we are at Zurich. So there's maybe some things that we're going to hear pleasantly surprised that we don't need. They're already covered. And the other point is too, for the ones that are stand alone, I would think that we would be looking at a smaller generator, like one could have at a home, because really most of them are on natural gas, or their furnaces don't take much power. And I think that some of these costs, I hope that's what the staff are looking at, not just the big 300 horsepower ones that we seem to have to buy. Just as a point, I hope they look at those things.
Thank you for that. Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, I believe Councillor Klopp made a good point there, but I think this is something that should go back to our staff. Mr. Horseman has the experience and the expertise in this. I just don't want us to be caught off guard if there is a major event, an ice storm, et cetera. We're out for a week or 6 days or 5 days even. I said that have a drastic impact on our ability to provide services, and the morale of our staff is very important to me. So I want to make sure we're very well positioned. So I think whatever Mr. Horseman comes back with, I would support.
Thank you very much for that. I think we have the genesis of the thought. So if I could break it into 2 motions, one will be to receive this report titled Paramedic-Based Generators as presented for information. A mover and a seconder for this. Past Warden again and Councillor Goderich. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. And a subsequent motion, please, Councillor Finch.
Yeah, I would turn to staff to formulate a motion to perhaps have this added to the budget, or whatever your thoughts are.
So a staff report on this subject of annual replacements in the budget.
That'd be fine.
Would you move that?
Yes, please.
And a seconder for that? Past Warden McClellan. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you very much. And again, thanks, Jeff, for that. And thank you, everyone, for your thoughtful comments. Under Public Works, the Main Corners Traffic Study Report. Imran, happy to have you, my friend. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to your presentation to us this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I appreciate the kind words. I'll keep this short, maybe. So in response to Council's request on September 4th, Huron County Public Works has reviewed the safety concerns at the Main Corners intersection located on the boundary of Huron and Perth counties. Historically, actions taken at this intersection include oversized stop signs, overhead 4-way amber and red warning lights, as well as flashing stop signs and reflective post strips along with rumble strips to alert the drivers. Despite these measures, the intersection continues to experience safety issues, particularly due to the limited visibility on the south approach. To address this, a traffic study is currently underway, led by Perth County with R.C. Spencer Associates, to explore both minor and major intersection improvements. Perth County was already working with R.C. Spencer in the vicinity of the location, so we were able to get a fairly good deal out of it. In the short term, Huron County will be installing additional safety signage to encourage safer driving behavior at the intersection. If there are any questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Thank you very much. Glad to see the collaboration between Huron and Perth on this traffic study. Past Warden McClellan, please.
Yeah, just a clarification, Mr. Warden. The project costs of a little over $15,000 here. So is that the cost of the study, or does that also include the cost of all the extra signage that we're putting in place?
Thanks for the question. Imran, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Through you, that is only for the study itself. The signage we're going to do in-house, that's just a short-term solution. And they're more actually informational signs. If you've seen them, they're like the blue signs that say text along the lines of no texting and driving kind of thing. And we're limited in the amount of what we can communicate on the signage. So we're working on trying to figure that out. But to answer your question, that cost is separate from the study.
Okay, thank you for that answer. I guess my only curiosity when I read this was that if it's already got a flashing light at the intersection and we've done a number of other things, I was kind of surprised that there wasn't some sort of study done on the intersection itself before even the cost of a flashing light was put in place, because they can be almost as expensive as a set of traffic lights. Was there no study done in the past that we can revise?
Thank you for the question. Imran, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Through you, we did look into it extensively with Perth County as well, and to the best of our knowledge, we have not been able to find a study that was done. It has been addressed. The intersection itself has been reviewed many times internally by both Perth and Huron, and the actions taken are reasonable. Those would be the first steps, and it's been discussed through our through Perth County's insurance agents as well. And really, the consensus is overall, the actions that we've taken are reasonable. So there has to be something else going on that we can't really clarify. So Yes, you're absolutely right. The study needs to be done. It hasn't been done yet, and this should give us a very good idea. And what we're feeling is that south approach with the visibility is what's causing the issues.
Thank you very much for that. Councillor Harding, please.
I really like to thank Imran for what he's done here and talking to Perth County. And I know these studies we're talking about now cost money, but we're dealing with people's lives here. And we've never had an extensive study, I don't believe, done of this intersection. And I would make the motion that we continue our partnership with Perth County in this and pay a share of this study.
Okay, thank you for that. Could we break this out into two and receive this report to start with for information purposes? Would you so move that?
Yes, I move that.
And seconded by Councillor Finch. All in favor of this motion to receive this? Okay. I think in consultation with the CAO, staff have the authority to move forward with this. So that will be done. I don't think there's a requirement to have a motion on that, if that's okay with you.
Thank you very much for clarifying that.
No worries. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Imran, for this. Number 2 is the tender of a motor grader, and Imran again is here to respond to any questions that we have of this. Do any members of council have any questions or comments? I'll go to Councillor Harding, please.
Just one question, quick one. Is this a 4-wheel drive grader or a 6-wheel drive? I know you say in there that it's, I forget what the word you used was, and I this is for my own curiosity because we've been buying graders and I just want to know if it's a 4-wheel drive or a 6-wheel drive. I think you recognize it as an all-wheel drive.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Harding. Imran, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warren, through you. Actually, unfortunately, I don't have the answer to that right now. I can find out through my fleet manager. Is that okay if I can communicate that to you by the end of the meeting?
Thank you very much for that, Imran. That satisfies you, Councillor Harding? Okay. P. Heffer, please.
Yes, thank you, Warden. I'm just curious, there's quite a difference in what they budgeted for 800, the $236,000 difference there. I'm just curious, are things starting to come down in price or to Imran, the price of the machinery is coming down, or why is such a large variance there? Just curious. Thank you.
Well, perfect. Thanks for the question. You're wondering whether it's just our great staff's procurement policies. Imran, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warren, through you. There's certainly an element to competitive pricing there. We are looking into, we're always trying to narrow that gap in between, trying to make sure projects come under budget, but also, preparing reasonable estimates. So we will be looking into it. Overall, prices do tend to be, we're seeing a trend in some prices coming down. Asphalt has come down a little bit compared to prices a couple of years ago. Specifically to this, I don't have a good answer as to why there's that much of a discrepancy, but competitive bidding certainly has to do with it, and prices are coming down, generally speaking. I will look into if there's something specific to graders that's driving the costs down a little bit.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much for the question and your response, Imran. Any additional questions of comments? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report as presented and to accept the price from Toromont CAT for $563,774.82, including net applicable taxes of 1.76, and delegating the authority to the road superintendent to execute the documentation with Toromont CAT. A move by Councillor Finch, seconded by Councillor Harding. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. And thank you very much for this, Imran. Moving on to economic development, the Foodpreneur Advantage Program. It is a privilege to welcome Brittany Wise, who is here to respond to any questions that any members of council may have on this report. Do we have any questions for Brittany? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report titled Foodpreneur Advantage Program as presented for information. Councillor Anderson and Jay Heffer, all in favor of this motion. And that is carried. Thank you very much, Brittany. Clerk Cronin is so knowledgeable on so many subjects, and she just confirmed that it is in fact a four-wheel drive, Councillor Harding. Perfect. Thank you. Never question her depth of knowledge on a broad basis.
She's way ahead of me. I didn't even realize that these raiders came in the four-wheel drive.
We'll talk after, Doug. I'll fill you in.
Yeah. Our staff our staff continually amazes and impresses us. Thank you very much for that, Clerk Cronin. And that must come under additional duties as described. Moving on to administration policies and other issues, none today. Correspondence, we are in receipt of that. Is there anything that anyone would like to pull? Councillor Finch, please.
14.1, please. Looking for support that.
Okay, thank you for that. You'd like to pull that. It would be moved by Councillor Finch, seconded by Elvin McClellan. All in favor of this? And that is supported by council. Thank you very much. Is there anything that anyone else? Councillor McClellan, please. Alvin.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I'd like to pull and support, I believe it's 14.5, speaks to alcohol sales and the provincial alcohol strategy. So to pull and support that.
Thank you very much. You make that motion. Do we have a seconder for that? P. Heffer. All in favor of this? And that is supported by council. Anything additionally? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to accept the correspondence not specifically dealt with for information. Councillor Goderich and P. Heffer. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. Is there any new or unfinished business that anyone would have? Please contact the CAO in advance so that it could be placed on a future agenda. Is there any notice of motion that anyone has today for a future meeting? Seeing none, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to introduce, give first, second, and third and final reading to the two bylaws as written. And that is moved by Councillor Klopp, seconded by Councillor Noel. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. I thank you. We do not have a closed session today. We have a list of the upcoming meetings. The first meeting, Council Day 1, is the 6th of November. Following day, Economic Development, the Library Board on the 13th, Accessibility on the 18th. Council Day 2, the 20th of November, inaugural session of Huron County Council, the 27th of November, 9 a.m. in these council chambers. And in December, moving on to that, the Christmas season, the 4th of December. I would entertain a mover and a seconder for the confirmatory bylaw to confirm the proceedings that be introduced and the seal of the corporation affixed thereto. P. Heffer and Councillor Noel, all in favor of this motion. And that is carried. Thank you very much to everyone for your input to our meeting today. And I would now entertain a mover and a seconder for to adjourn. And that is moved by Councillor Goderich, seconded by Jay Heffer, that we do now adjourn to meet again on the 6th of November at 9 a.m. Meeting adjourned at 9:51. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you very much.